Hey folks, it's Teo Sager. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. For today, we'll be talking about the market metrics of the city Canyon Country. It's a city within Santa Clarita Valley. It's a good place to start your home purchase portfolio, and I've sold numerous properties there and represented a lot of sellers. Nonetheless, there's a lot of insightful information, so whether you're considering selling or purchasing into the neighborhood, there are some interesting facts later in the video that I reveal that you should definitely stick around for. Other than that, we'll begin. So this graph here shows us that from March 2019 versus March 2020, the average sales price in regards to single family homes in Canyon Country. And it definitely shows, a nice steady stream of appreciation for single family homes, which we like. We'll move on to the next one, median for sale versus median sold. So this graph compares the first graph for median sold price, and it puts up against the median for sale. There's always a lot of discrepancies about what a home should be listed as well as what a home should be sold for. Usually those conversations are had between listing agents and sellers, and what fair market price is essentially what the buyer's willing to pay for and what the seller's willing to sell it for. There's some little bit of dips. We have some in November, December in regards to the sold price, which is to be expected because there's less buyers or less demand. But yeah, this is interesting, usually because in June, summer seasons tend to be more active, and that's why a lot of people tend to reach for those premium prices. But other than that, we'll move on to the next graph. So sold properties by month is up 19% as opposed to from March last year. This is interesting only because there were a lot of people who are trying to wrap up their escrows, perhaps. If you entered escrow in January and February, I'm assuming that you're wanting to wrap up your files as soon as possible and hope that you can close your pre-existing escrow in March amidst of all the turbulences, specifically all the financial turbulences that we're experiencing in this market. We'll move to the next graph, under contracts by month. In Canyon Country, 33 people opened escrow last month, which it's still a decent amount of people. Yeah, it's not as much as last March in terms of the 52. However, in my previous videos, I've mentioned that I feel like we're going to experience a winter holiday market, which is what this is reflecting here. So with the 33, even though it's the lowest out of the numbers, people are still participating in the market and seeing opportunities, or rather, they probably have to sell or move and so forth. But we'll move on to the next graph. This one's going to be my favorite. It's the new properties by month. We'll go ahead and click the units. So what new properties mean is new listings. Yes, in March 2019, which I've listed properties all throughout the summer last year in Canyon Country, I was part of this statistic. There's 45 sellers and conversations that were had last month where they decided to list their property. That said something. So whether you're a seller interested in listing your property, you have less competition, you have less inventory, and despite the fact that there's less inventory, you still have less buyers, but that also is a pro for other buyers too, because you still have less competition. We'll go over later in the video whether or not this is a seller's or buyer's market concurrently for Canyon Country, but I've checked out some interesting information already and still quite fascinated despite what's happening with the climate. But we'll move on to the next one. For sale properties is down by 43%. So for sale properties, meaning current active escrows. So a lot of conversations definitely were had in regards to whether agents should put their listings on hold or sellers should have withdrawn the listings and so forth. But this definitely reflects that. It definitely shows over here what I was saying previously, the winter holiday market, what I'm anticipating in regards to how the market's going to go. Other than that, we'll move on. I'm missing my little highlighter. We'll get my highlighter. I'll be right back. I brought him back, but the screen's going to be smaller. Other than that, it's okay. Cool. So we'll move on to the next graph, which is expired properties by month. This is going to be more indicative of relationships between listing agents and sellers and the length of their contract. It might be COVID-19 related, because if you did have a property that was listed at a premium and you were reaching for a specific price and it didn't sell, it probably expired in February and March, only because, when you did list it in the last year or however months ago, maybe 6 to 8 months, you weren't anticipating coming into this experience. So, and if it didn't sell during the winter, probably wouldn't sell during February, March, or now. So this is basically what's it's showing. Supply and demand. So yes, as I mentioned previously, inventory is going to shift downward. We're going to experience that market holiday inventory. However, demand is still here. It's a good indicator whether you're selling or buying. You're still going to have some competition. Probably is going to be, less, obviously, because even Chase changed their lending requirements to 20% down and having a minimum FICO score of 700. So it weeds out a lot of buyers, but there's still demand for housing. We'll move into the next graph, which is the average days on markets down by 54%. So normally single family homes, when I was all the properties that I sold in Canyon Country were around 30 days escrow, sometimes maybe 25, depending on the seller's circumstance when I listed homes. However, I did close a property in January. We had a 60-day escrow because of the seller needed to file taxes, meanwhile identify a property in Arizona, and we needed to sort of link those timelines together. But other than that, just shows you that people are trying to wrap up their files as soon as possible, which is basically what I'm assuming with this data here. They didn't want to experience these mortgage shifts, I would say. Let's go to the last graph. Month supply of inventory is down 24% as opposed to from last year, same time last year. So month supply inventory basically shows how much months of inventory there is. So right now there's about 2, maybe 3 months of inventory. If you watch my previous videos, you'll learn that 6 to 8 months shows the market shift. So if you have 6 to 8 months of inventory, that'll shift into a buyer's market. So right here, what does that tell you? It's a seller's market still. But other than that, we will move forward and we're going to do condos. So the median sold price is up 11%. Shows a much more stronger picture of appreciation as opposed to single family homes, which is okay, which is surprising because normally single family homes appreciate more. However, entering the housing market with a condo, it's so much more easier than buying a house when it comes to our LA County markets. Other than that, we'll move on. Median for sale versus median sold takes the first graph and puts up against the median for sale. So a lot of these conversations here, when you have the medium sold, shows that there were probably a lot of multiple offers in these condos. Again, when you have a lower price point, you'll probably have a more buyer pool and buyer demand because a lot more people can participate, and people are probably pricing these units correctly, igniting these bidding war, so to speak. So it's sold properties for condos has not changed. So it'll be interesting moving into the spring market to see if the data is going to be consistent or if it's going to change altogether. So if you have any comments, questions, or probably theories, I would love to see them below. Under contracts by month, it's down 22%. No thoughts so far. That's my favorite graph. New properties by month. So 20, same, no change. 21 listings were taking last month. So there were 21 sellers who knew the market they were going into in regards to COVID-19. So don't be wrapped up in fear is what I'm saying. So whether you're thinking about selling or thinking about purchasing, there's still opportunities to be had. It's just, we just gonna have to take different approaches. For sale properties by month, down 27%, probably because people were having conversations in regards to whether put their properties on hold or withdrawn. So I expected the same information to translate from single family homes to condos. Expired properties by month, we'll ignore this again, not really COVID-19 related unless you think it is, but this is about the length of contracts that you sign from the first date you have the listing in terms of the last. So we'll go to supply and demand, down 27% in regards to the for sale properties. Number of sold properties, as we witnessed prior, has not changed. Supply has shrunk. Meanwhile, demand has stayed steady for the same months in terms of 2019, 2020. Again, it'll be interesting looking back on this information as we move forward into the month of COVID-19. So I'll definitely be doing another video next month looking back on April's data and revisiting the same information too. And our last graph, which is the month supply of inventory, is down 23%. So for condos, we only have about 1 month to 2 months of inventory. So seller's market. Let me know if you have any questions, folks. Feel free to leave a comment. If you have any other desired areas of interest or zip code, feel free to also leave me a comment, and I would love to do a video dedicated to that. On another note, we're also going to look at the, we'll go ahead and do Canyon Country, and then Canyon Country. Cool. Perfect. As you can see, seller's market, strong seller's market today, last month. Exactly what we predicted from the data that we used in Teradata, which pulls the information from the MLS and streamlines it. Price increased 3%, some decrease of 28%. Days on market's around 85. Probably some outliers. Usually the higher priced homes, around the sixes are probably the ones that are sitting the longest, because usually the properties that I sold the fastest are in the high 400s, low 500s. Cool. If you like a copy of this information, feel free to also message me as well. And we're going to go head over to condos. Condos. Oh, wow. A hot seller's market for condos. So price per square foot 342. Let me see the houses. Okay. I sell in Canyon Country at an average of 463 per square foot. So for single family homes, but for condos, not bad. Yeah, inventory only 17 units. Ugh. Thank you so much for watching, folks. If you have any points of interest in regards to areas and data you'd like me to hone in on, feel free to shoot me a message, leave me a comment, or perhaps you like a copy of this data, feel free to also send me a message as well, and I'll send that over via email. Other than that, see you next time. Hey folks, thank you so much for watching Selling with Teo. If you enjoyed our content, feel free to press the subscribe button. And if you have any questions, comments, or additional topics you'd like to discuss, feel free to drop me a message as well. Other than that, see you next time.